Where'd you go to high school?
CBC.
Brandon?
McClure North and UCD High School.
Yeah.
North, McClure North.
Okay. And I went to Priory. Jay, you went to Cardinal Ritter.
Yes.
If you ask any of my friends and associates who were part of DSEC program in the 80s, they will all tell you it was a horrible, unless they were an athlete, it was a horrible experience because they would get up when the sun was down like this, they would have to be up at 5 in the morning on a bus stop. And by the time they got home, it was dark again. Their parents never came to anything because half the parents didn't know how to get to the school. They were too far away. So it was like they were alienated when they were a part of a DSEC program. So their school experience wasn't like a kid that went to, at the time, Beaumont or Sumner or wherever in their district, close to their home. They didn't have the kind of experiences that those kids had because they were way away from their neighborhood, their culture, everything. You know, so the experiences were terrible.
Pretty much what your mom said.
Really? Okay.
It was probably the exact same thing. 6 o'clock in the morning, get back after practice, start Saturday practices. You know what I mean? Only kids outside. That early in the morning catching the bus.
Right.
Mom only came to 2 games.
How was the bus situation? Like, man, where'd the bus get you at?
No, only thing was they were pretty good on that. It's just 2 blocks away from the house. By the time we got to school, we only had about 15 to 20 minutes to interact with everybody in the school, in the commons. Versus, you know, kids from the county, they had a whole fresh 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Versus us when we got there, we were always the last ones to get the breakfast. There's been many a times, like snow days. If it snowed real bad, you can't depend on the bus. They send us cabs.
Ever you went to Burroughs, was it any different for you? Did you live in the same house over there now?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the people I hung out with were the people I went to school with, the people I went to church with. We had more than 4 black people at Burroughs in my class. I think we had 10. So, I mean not a huge...
Out of how many, though?
Out of, I think I graduated with 107 people, 109 people.
Now, if you double it, like, you know, they do, all right, that's fine, but all boys school, it was only 56 graduated with me,
Okay.
and it was only me, black.
So it was either, I mean, the social stuff I did, either, you know, somebody from school had something. Yeah, somebody from school had something, you know, we would go to that. But those are the people I hung out with, you know, either people I went to school with or people who I went to church with. And then, you know, I think kind of, because there weren't a whole lot of black students at a lot of the private schools, we all kind of knew each other.
Okay.
Like, you know, me and you knew each other from football. Because you didn't have much time between the athletic requirement and the workload. You know, it used to blow my mind that he worked when we were in high school.
Yeah,
I had no
that's
idea
crazy.
how he had time to have a job. Just because it was never, I mean, I never even thought about having a job while I was in high school. I mean, I was at school from probably 7:45 till, in season, to at least 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then we would have at least 2 or 3 hours of homework.
Right. And good
every
old 40
night.
traffic trying to get back home.
Yeah, so I mean, if I would have worked, I couldn't work Saturdays because that was when the private schools, that's when most of the private schools played their
We
game.
were the last class to see the whole school. Right, in Clayton. And originally, my freshman year, well, at first I had this elaborate plan because I really wanted to go to Cardinal Ritter. And
We all did.
I really wanted to go to Cardinal Ritter. So, but my parents made me put SLU as my first choice, CBC is my second choice, and Cardinal Ritter is my third choice. I didn't get into SLU, and I just knew I wasn't going to get into CBC because they're one of those type of schools where they would like for you to have them as their first choice. So, you know, I just knew I wasn't going to get into CBC, but, you know, they accepted me, you know, and I went through that struggle, you know, and being bothered by, you know, because the number one question when somebody finds out you go to CBC is there a lot of gay people there? It's like, you know, it's gay people in Normandy, Beaumont, Sodan, you know. So I had to get used to that adjustment period because, you know, at the end of the day, I know what I am. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't, after a while, I didn't let that bother me. But the way it was set up at my middle school, I went to Our Lady of Good Counsel. It's closed now, but I basically had a sheet that I had to fill out, and I basically had to put the top 3 schools that I wanted to go to, and they sent my transcript to each school to that order, and I'm guessing they sent the sheet as well, you know, listing the schools that I had put for my first 3 choices. So that's why I was like, okay, I didn't get into school. I know I'm not going to get into CBC. I'm going to Carter. I think a lot of the problems that we have as a race of people, when someone is doing good and someone is, you know, making straight A's and doing what they have to do in school, it's all you acting white. You know, when, you know, people don't realize math and science, you know, that came from Africa. They originated from Africa. You know what I'm saying? How you think that them pyramids got so tall in Egypt? You know, they ain't use magic. You know what I'm saying? They used calculus and math, you know, and they didn't have no bulldozers and no trucks like that. They, with manpower and math and the skills and the intelligence and the skills that they had, they made it happen, you know, and then we as a people, we don't realize that. And, you know, you was talking about earlier, you know, how, you know, we glorify and are attracted to the thug or the hood image, you know what I'm saying? We're content with that lifestyle, and it, you know, it's unfortunate.
So, do you think grades and academics, that's the only reason why one could say you're acting white? Do you think, because I do know other black individuals with private school, they aren't, I mean, if you're going to SLU mixers and, you know, you aren't hanging out with other, you know, I guess stuff that other black kids are doing that aren't in the private school district, they can't relate to you. So it's not necessarily just academics. Sometimes I think it's you're not relatable, you don't hang out the same places I do. Why do you want to be a part of that culture so more than, you know, the culture that we have here? I think that's kind of also where it ties in.
That too.
You singular because you went to a private school that was all black.
But
That's
just-
unheard of.
Huh?
But
Yeah, it really kind of is.
Right.
It's
I mean, but I mean, even with that, I mean, well, there was different people there because there were some people who they, you know, they wanted to be, I guess if you'll say, on the more hood side, and then there were me and my friends, and they did like say go to Cathedral for middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they wanted to go to those events that were mixed and that had a diverse population, or that we thought, I guess you can say now, move you up the social ladder.
But you know what's funny? It's the same thing you saying about the private schools you went to, and y'all go to white mixes and things like that. I thought the same thing about people who went to Cardinal Ritter. I think private school, I'm thinking you corny, white, all that type of stuff anyway. And even though it was all black and y'all was just normal black kids that happened to just go to that school, it's the same mindset that we had. I think Cardinal Ritter, I'm thinking straight white folks or that type of black people. That's all I ever
You
thought.
say that type of black people.
That type of black people
The bougie.
that hang with white, that, you know, the black people that act white.
Okay. That's
I know
fine.
you went to white mixes. I don't think that you're a black person that act white.
Yeah, but you just
You know what I'm
but you
saying?
know me.
But I know
somebody
you,
from
but-
the, yeah.
And that's just what you think. I hear private school, Catholic school.
Right.
Definitely, I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying?
As far as the sports goes, I mean, I was there from sunrise to sunset, but my drive home was just right around the corner for me, so it wasn't like I had to make the trip.
But outside of school, as far as like if you went to the galley or you went to the loop.
Well, see, I moved around a lot, so I knew people from Normandy, U City, Cardinal Ritter, just about every school. So I mean, I hung with everybody. but seeing like everybody around, yeah, it was like this crowd here. You knew everybody. Everybody knew them. Then you had another crowd and another crowd.
Beat Basement.